The rain hadn't stopped for hours. It painted silver streaks down the glass walls of a skyscraper that glowed like a cold, indifferent giant against the city night. Inside, beneath marble floors and whisper-quiet elevators, a man pushed a cleaning cart down the hallway. His name was Aaron Blake, invisible to most, essential to all. His shoes were worn, his uniform faded, but his spirit carried a quiet dignity. He wasn't just scrubbing floors, he was keeping a promise, one made long before success, before bills, before exhaustion became a rhythm of life. Every month, without fail, half his meager paycheck vanished into a plain white envelope marked for an orphanage across town. Not a charity stunt. Not a tax write-off. Just a vow from a man who once had nothing, and was saved by the kindness of strangers. No one knew. Not his co-workers. Not even his boss, Evelyn Carter, a woman whose name made investors tremble. She lived high above the clouds, in a world of glass offices and diamond watches. But what she didn't know was that the janitor who polished her floors was about to change her life, not through wealth or ambition, but through the quiet power of compassion, because sometimes, it's not the richest who change the world, it's the kindest. The storm lingered over the city that night, a gentle but endless drizzle that mirrored the weight of a million weary hearts below. Inside Silverline Tower, the city's tallest building, fluorescent lights buzzed softly over polished hallways. Aaron Blake moved quietly, mop in hand, as his reflection shimmered across the marble. He had worked the night shift for 6 years. No one really saw him, not the executives who hurried past, not the interns glued to their screens. But Aaron saw everything. The tired eyes behind expensive suits, the loneliness hiding beneath ambition, the people who mistook wealth for worth. He finished cleaning the 42nd floor, then pulled a small photo from his pocket. It was creased at the edges, a little girl, missing a tooth, smiling like the sun itself. Maya. His daughter. His reason for everything. Every morning, before the city woke, he packed her lunch, peanut butter sandwiches cut into stars, walked her to school, then caught the 6:20 bus downtown. His body was tired, his hands cracked, but his heart was full. "Daddy," Maya often asked, "why do you send money to those kids if we don't have much?" Aaron would smile softly. "Because once, someone did the same for me." As a child, Aaron grew up in that same orphanage he now supported, St. Helena's Home for Children. It had saved him when the world had given up. It gave him food, education, and the chance to dream. So even when his paycheck barely covered rent, he made sure those envelopes kept going out, every month, without fail. Up on the 70th floor, Evelyn Carter, CEO of Silverline Industries, sat behind a desk worth more than Aaron's yearly salary. Her office was a kingdom of glass and light. She had everything: power, recognition, success. Yet when the world went quiet, her reflection felt like a stranger's. Her success had come at a cost. Friends faded, family drifted, warmth replaced by metrics and targets. People called her brilliant, ruthless, efficient. But no one called her kind. That all changed one gray morning. Evelyn arrived unusually early. The building was silent except for the faint hum of a vacuum. As she turned a corner, she saw Aaron kneeling, scrubbing a coffee stain someone had spilled the night before. His motions were steady, patient, almost peaceful. Something about him made her stop. His eyes looked tired but alive, his uniform worn but neat. She noticed a photo taped to his cart, a little girl with bright eyes. Evelyn hesitated, then walked past. But the image stuck with her. Over the next few days, she noticed him again, always working quietly, always polite. She'd catch glimpses of him leaving envelopes at the security desk or helping the receptionist carry heavy boxes. Curiosity began to tug at her. One evening, as she left late, Evelyn saw Aaron outside handing a brown envelope to a nun dressed in white. She thanked him warmly before walking away. Aaron, slightly embarrassed, lowered his gaze. Evelyn frowned. Why would a janitor be giving money away? Later, unable to ignore it, she asked her assistant to pull his payroll records. When the report came, she froze. Half of his small paycheck went every month to an orphanage, automatically. For years, her chest tightened, she couldn't stop thinking about it. That night, sipping imported coffee in her penthouse high above the city, she pictured Aaron's calloused hands scrubbing floors while sending money to children he didn't even know personally anymore. The contrast pierced her like lightning. She, who had more than she could ever spend, had forgotten what it meant to give. The next morning, she drove across town to the orphanage listed in the files, St. Helena's. The building was small, old, but alive with laughter. Children played barefoot in the courtyard, their joy echoing through chipped walls. A kind-faced nun greeted her. "You must be from Silverline?" she asked hopefully. Evelyn hesitated. "Not exactly. I came to learn about a man named Aaron Blake." The nun's face brightened. "Ah, Mr. Blake. He's one of our angels. Has been helping us for years. Always comes quietly, never wanting recognition. Says we gave him life, he's just paying it forward." Evelyn felt her throat tighten. She thanked the sister and left, tears blurring her vision. Back at the office, she called Aaron into her office. He entered nervously, holding his cap. "Ma'am, did I do something wrong?" Evelyn shook her head. "No, Mr. Blake. I just wanted to ask, why do you do it?" Aaron's eyes flickered with confusion, then honesty. "Because I know what it's like to be hungry," he said softly. "And I want my daughter to know that kindness means more than comfort." The silence that followed was heavy, powerful. Evelyn had spent years chasing success, and here stood a man who had found meaning in giving. That night, she couldn't sleep. She looked at her reflection, a woman with everything except peace, and decided it was time to change. The following week, she made an announcement that shocked the company: the creation of the Blake Promise Fund, a charitable foundation under Silverline Industries to support orphans and single parents. She named it after the janitor who had unknowingly reminded her of what true wealth meant. When Aaron heard, he was speechless. During the next company meeting, Evelyn personally called him to the stage. "Today," she said, her voice steady but emotional, "we honor a man whose heart is richer than any balance sheet. Aaron Blake reminded me, and all of us, that success without compassion is failure in disguise." The room erupted in applause. Aaron's hands trembled as he smiled shyly, whispering, "I just do what I can, ma'am." But it didn't end there. Evelyn began visiting St. Helena's herself. She funded repairs, bought supplies, and created scholarships. The building that once echoed with cracks now glowed with new life, walls painted bright, laughter louder than ever. When she arrived one afternoon, she found Aaron sweeping the hallway. "Same as always, you've done more for this world than you realize," she said softly. Aaron chuckled. "Maybe. But it's folks like you who can change it for good." Evelyn smiled. "You changed me first." From that day forward, Evelyn wasn't just a CEO, she was a human being rediscovering her soul. She started treating employees with empathy, creating programs for struggling workers, and personally mentoring young single parents. And every time she saw Aaron in the halls, she didn't see a janitor anymore. She saw a teacher. A man who had nothing but gave everything. A man who proved that compassion is the truest form of leadership. If this story touched your heart, take a moment to pause, to like, comment, share, and remind the world that kindness still matters. Because sometimes, the smallest hearts carry the greatest strength. And like Aaron Blake, you never know whose life your quiet act of love might change forever.